I know the feeling. It's Friday, so you know what that means. Let's welcome tonight's guests. For a guy who sells razors, he's surprisingly dull. Comedian and founder of Western Razor, David Angelo. Careful, that's hot, is what he tells diners while pointing at his ass. Chef and restaurant owner Andrew Gruel. She avoids Thanksgiving because her relatives mistake her arms for the wishbone. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor, Kat Schiff. And to him, big and tall shops are just shops. Former NWA World Champion, host of Planet Tyrus podcast, Tyrus. All right, before we get to some news stories, let's do this.
Greg's Leftovers.
It's Leftovers, where I read the jokes we didn't use this week, and as always, it's my first time reading them, so if they suck, we'll place Joe Mackey in a box, mark it fragile, and check it with Spirit Air. Kristi Noem boasted about the new Operation Dirtbag, where Homeland Security caught 150 illegal immigrant sex offenders. This is not to be confused with an earlier Operation Dirtbag when President Biden tried to find a whore for Hunter. This week in New York City, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree arrived, although it spent its first night in the emergency room after getting molested on the D train. A man set a world record for snapping the most cucumbers in 30 seconds with his bare hands. But another man protested the record, saying it's not fair that he used his hands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So good.
Wow.
So good. Newly released documents show Jeffrey Epstein ended his friendship with Bill Clinton because he thought the former president was a liar. Especially the time he said, "My wife will never murder you." Oh, here we go. An Idaho man set another world record by using a cone to catch a scoop of ice cream from a distance of 55 feet and 5 inches. This skill will come in handy if you're within 55 feet of Jerry Nadler after he had Taco Bell.
Knew that was coming. Ew.
Joy Behar was absent from back-to-back episodes of The View after injuring her foot. But don't worry, she's fine now after an emergency visit to her blacksmith. A new report says Sydney Sweeney and Zendaya are in a bitter feud over their opposing political views. You know, you hate to see these two fight, unless it's in a kiddie pool full of Jell-O. In California, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is revoking 17,000 driver's licenses that were given to dangerous foreign drivers, some of whom were not Asian. A Pennsylvania man said he was shot after his dog jumped on a shotgun he had placed on his bed. After hearing this story, one woman went out and got a dog. These are good. These are all hits. James Carville says former White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre needs to shut the F up about her race and sexual identity. Well, it's easy for him to say. We all can't change color by blending into a tree. An Indiana man has been arrested for shooting 2 dogs with a bow and arrow while supposedly hunting deer. But it might be due to his poor eyesight, since he also claimed Taylor Swift is a 10. According to new data, no illegal immigrants were released into the U.S. in the past 6 months. Wow, no wonder I haven't seen anyone in the ocean wearing jeans. Thank you. That is a good one. 67% of Americans agree there's no shame in asking for financial help, which is why on the way to work, I always give my spare change to the homeless.
Never over.
Thank you. And finally, an experimental serum could reverse baldness within 20 days. Unfortunately, it's only in rats. That is not AI generated. All right, isn't it convenient that after the Democrat shutdown implodes, what do you hear from the press? Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. They ignored it until they were desperate, like Don Lemon eyeing a fat biker at a bar at closing time. And leaving out all the details that proves he's innocent. Instead, they tried to tie Trump to the infamous mass pedophile like they were partners in a 3-legged race. Still, media lemmings fell in line, calling them bombshells when they were nothing more than burps from a gassy hummingbird. Of course, we've been here before, and we knew this breathless frenzy would collapse like a Russian robot. But you know it's bad when even CNN has to call Crockett out on their shenanigans.
Republicans are saying that that victim is Virginia Giuffre. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that, and can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand,
Okay,
but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims.
Right, and she's a lawyer. I bet her clients asked for the death penalty just to get her to stop talking. This latest Epstein dump, and I emphasize dump, was just inflated gossip based on hilariously interpreted emails. Still, Trump supporters had to once again endure the gauntlet of the fallacious firing squad. In fact, the story was so weak that Dems did deliberately redact a supposed victim's name, Gutfeld, whatever it is, who publicly testified that Trump was innocent. But they always withhold important details, much like how I withheld farts on a first date. But it backfired. What we learned, it always does. But we learned really is that Michael Wolff, a Trump smear merchant, was trying to work with Epstein on a blackmail scheme. The New York Times tipped off Epstein on a hit piece, and a lot of rich guys like to talk to Epstein. And also that apparently Trump, based on suspicion, banned Epstein from his club, which makes him look pretty good, and the media looking phonier than the Rolexes I gifted my writing staff. The funniest part, when the Dems lauded an email with Epstein expressing his hatred for Trump, as if that was a point scored against Trump. Sorry, you douchebags, that just made Epstein one of you guys. What's next? You're gonna brag that Dems lead Republicans by 50 points among pedophiles? These same idiots also ran with the claim that Epstein spent Thanksgiving with Trump while Trump was president. Amazing how at the time that revelation went unnoticed and unreported by the media who hates Trump. And that's because it never happened. The media and the Dems had to delete that so-called bombshell like it was a skirt in Rachel Maddow's dressing room. I never know what works with you people. Now, don't get me wrong. The Epstein saga is very real. There were victims galore, but these assholes never cared about them. This story meant nothing to them unless they could make it about Trump. Because for Democrats, other people's suffering is just a political tool for gaining power. But sadly, their selected leaks had a rebound effect, vindicating and not implicating Trump. But this latest exercise reveals how unsalvageable the media is. They truly may be the most discredited industry in history. They make the tobacco industry look like the Red Cross. They're corrupt, lying, and ultimately harmful to your health. But only if you keep buying what they're selling. David, what's with the hat?
Oh, this new hat at westernrazor.com
Yes.
that emphasizes that we're American made.
Yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't really work with what you're wearing.
Well, that's the beauty of what I'm wearing. Nothing works with it.
Yes. Anyway, you have been following the Epstein scandal for decades. You were one of the first.
Right, ever since I was a flight attendant on Lolita Express.
Yes. What do you make of how all these people who didn't say a damn word during the Biden administration are now up in arms?
Well, yeah, it's like, how do they explain that? I mean, you could have released it all when you were controlling the government. You didn't.
Yeah.
So now it's like either you were protecting Trump for the last 4 years, or now you're suddenly you're a little insincere about wanting it now. But, you know, I always feel bad whenever we talk about Epstein, I always feel bad for the elites because Epstein had like a whole private island for them.
Yeah.
You know, now they got to do their orgies in the function room at Embassy Suites. It's not the same. You know, the front desk guy keeps coming in. He's like, hey, the printer's not working. Is Bill Gates in here still? Bill, can you come help? Can you link the printer, Bill?
So true. They're the real victims, I guess.
It's true.
Yes. All right, Andrew. Have you been following this latest? Like, they got so breathless. Everybody in the media, bombshell, bombshell. And I'm going like, I am not going to invest any emotion into this for a few hours. Wait a few hours, and it all falls apart.
I'm so over the Epstein stuff. I mean, it's on another level. I started following it for a while, then I stopped following it. It's like Real World Road Rules or whatever that show was, right? You can always pick up at any time and figure out what salacious line you want to go with. But Jeffrey Epstein to the media, it's really become like the oysters of the media complex. Not because the oysters are still alive like him, but because of the fact that they use the Epstein stuff as bait to get people in the door to buy things like drinks. In this case, it's gossip and salacious story and most importantly, lies, right? That's what it comes down to. And that's where they make their money. Just like on alcohol, they make their money on drinks. So two things there. One, Epstein was an oyster. Two, he's still alive.
Yeah.
And three, the media needs to start slinging drinks. And also, the next thing we're going to figure out here, right? Like, what's the next story in this timeline? I think it's that story Stormy Daniels is actually Jeffrey Epstein.
Ooh.
Yeah. Either that or she ate Jeffrey Epstein.
Kat, what do you make of this whole thing the last couple of days? Happens after the shutdown ends.
Well, you know, I want to see more. I'm not over the Epstein stuff. We disagree there. I wanted to see everything when Biden was president. I still want to see everything now. I think more is better. I want to see every single thing. I think it should be a bipartisan thing where what's really important to me is there were victims, right? I know it's not funny, but it's true. And I just don't know why would I give a I'm not in it. So, like, let's see it, you know? I'm not in I know they say it's always better to be invited.
Yeah. Yes.
Not always.
Yes, that's true. Tyrus, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
New book with a foreword.
Oh, here you go.
Thank you.
Welcome.
A foreword.
$20.
The foreword is written none other by Donald Trump.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Nice.
He actually, and just so you know, the Epstein It's not hurting my bottom line at all. He texted this morning out of the blue, like all the stuff's going on, and he's like, "Hey, don't forget to get your book," because I was out, with my teeth stuff. It's a book that talks about our experiences while we were calling this election. When I called it so early, and we were getting for that, and traveling around, and I intermixed some stories of meeting people across the country and talking about, because everyone's like, "How did you know the election was so one-sided?" Because I talk to real people. And I also talk about being black helped me figure out that it was a landslide election also. Because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but us blacks, we can find each other anywhere. Any crowd, any situation. Thank you. And every time I watched Kamala give a speech, I was always doing the same thing. Nope, didn't see it.
Yeah.
So I never thought, and there was never ever a catchphrase from her campaign. You spend $1 billion and you don't get a catchphrase? Like, no one ever ran up to you and be like, "You about to be unburdened by what has been." It was never that. There was no unburdened stuff. There was no unburdened bumper sticker. So we talk about that. It gets a little serious. I also dedicated 2 chapters to re-educate the world on who Hitler actually was. And I put the murder stats up, Trump versus Hitler, and it was a complete blowout.
Yes. We got to move on. What's your take on this Epstein stuff?
The Epstein, with Kat, I think the victims should have their day, but it's utter. The amounts of levels of made up to take him down. If they had a real Epstein file, do you think they would have been like, "No, if we expose it, we'll lose Bill Clinton"? They wouldn't have gave a about Bill. They would have burned down everyone to kill the Orange Dragon.
Yeah.
So we know it's nothing about him. What it's about is the people who write the checks for them. That's why they're so, it's Trump. They want Trump. That's why they lie. They continue to lie. If they had anything on this guy, we would have seen it 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's funny. He's like, if you look at just the emails I've seen, he is adored by the global elites. Epstein, the only one who didn't adore him and that he hated was Trump.
They all hate Trump.
Yeah.
Because Trump knows who they are.
Yeah.
All of them.
There you go. All right, be sure and get Tyrus's new book. Up next, Katie hates on Kirk. I got to pee so bad.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.